Changing roles. The role shift of teachers in blended learning instruction. Do you remember? Traditional classrooms, traditional learning methods. You will become a teacher. Will you be a traditional teacher too? We will provide you with some innovative techniques that can be applied to your classes. Traditionally, the teacher acted as a sage on the stage. He or she was the main source of knowledge, while the student's role was being seated and quiet, listening, reading, studying. So boring. But attitudes are changing. Teachers' role is changing. Teachers become a guide in the learning process. They direct, facilitate, monitor, motivate, encourage, among other things. So, challenging the student to improve and care about their learning process. Now, students are given more autonomy, and the learning process can be adapted to their learning styles. Because we are different and we all have different learning styles. Sensory students. They prefer visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile materials. Perceptual students, because each person uses their left and right side hemisphere differently, and the processing of information is also different. Cognitive students, in which we will find the influence of short and long-term memory in the learning process. Personality, we will find very different people, mainly introvert and also extrovert people. And also personal talents. Different types of intelligence, like linguistic, logical mathematical, bodily kinesthetic, spatial, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal.
How can we enhance learning? We can use blending traditional classroom-based and e-learning with online collaborative learning. And why? Well, because it has some benefits. We have time flexibility and ability to control the pacing and location of the learning. And what learning strategies can be used? We can use the inquiry process. So a topic is selected and the students ask questions, organize the information they find, and present that information to the rest of the class. The information is gathered through means of CD-ROM and library facilities, internet and email. On the other hand, constructivist strategies take into consideration the posing of relevant problems, structuring the learning process, valuing a student's point of view, adapting the curriculum, and assessing the learning process in the context of teaching. Another strategy is engaged learning, where the skills are transferable to the process of real-life problem solving. And finally, motivation strategies that obviously increase motivation. They include that students can undertake real challenges and intellectual risks. We can build on strengths first, we must provide a safe environment, we must avoid power struggles, we can teach students to evaluate themselves, and very important, we must offer them different choices.
In relation to collaborative and cooperative learning, we have to describe, first of all, what collaborative learning is. Collaborative learning is a method of teaching and learning in which students team together to explore a question or create a meaningful project. Thus, in this way of learning, students have a common goal, which has to be built together with all learners. In the case of cooperative learning, it is a specific kind of collaborative learning in which students work together in small groups and on a structured activity. Cooperative groups work face-to-face and learn to work as a team. In addition, each has his own part of the problem. Now, we have to raise some questions. The first one is, how do cooperative and collaborative learning differ from the traditional approach? Well, cooperative and collaborative learning differ from traditional teaching approaches because students work together rather than compete with each other individually.
The next question we want to think about is, how have cooperative and collaborative learning developed since they became popular? Over the past 25 years, the use of small group learning has greatly increased. Cooperative learning became especially popular in the early 1980s and has matured and progressed since. Most recently, new technologies have added an exciting new dimension to collaborative and cooperative learning. With the Internet, collaboration can occur without regard to distance or time barriers. Now, we are going to move on to the third question. What are the benefits of cooperative and collaborative learning? Benefits from small group learning in a collaborative environment include celebration of diversity, acknowledgement of individual differences, interpersonal development, actively involving students in learning, and finally, more opportunities for personal feedback. Arrived at this point, it is important to mention the similarities and differences between cooperative and collaborative learning. Both in cooperative and collaborative learning, the importance of active learning is stressed. The teacher acts as facilitator. Teaching and learning are experiences shared by both the student and the teacher. There is a great emphasis on students' responsibility for taking charge of her or his learning, and students can develop social skills and increase their success. Regarding to differences, in cooperative learning, activities are structured with each other student having a specific role. The teacher observes, listens, and intervenes in a group when necessary, and students submit work at the end of the class for evaluation. However, in collaborative learning, students organize and negotiate efforts themselves. The activity is not monitored by the instructor because the teacher simply guides the students to the information needed. And finally, students retain drafts to complete further work.
If you want more information about this topic, visit these web pages in which you will find lots of information.